God aften. Jeg hedder Tycho Brahe, astronom fra det kongelige fra Danmark, Bohemia. Et min colleague.
Willkommen, ich heiße Johannes Kepler. Ich nehme an, wir sollten auf Englisch sprechen.
Yeah, so I presume you would prefer to speaking the Queen's English, so to speak. But first, I'll thank you for the very lovely introduction. It is nice to be known that we are still held in such high esteem. I presume our host would appreciate if we make this somewhat normalcy, even though it is rather strange for us. I do not know by what means we have come here today, but it is a great joy to be amidst a collection of, how shall we say, a congress of like-minded truth seekers who have also been equally captivated by the goddess Urania, the muse of the heavens.
Astronomy, being the most noble and ancient crafts, attracts only those of keen mind and probing intellects. And thus, by whatever curious circumstances have brought us here today, perhaps by some magic spell, although I do not see my mother here today, we are most assuredly comforted by the company we find ourselves in. Allow us to share again how the muse of astronomy has impelled us upon our course.
Indeed. For those of you who heard the description of my early life, I am a man of privilege. My lineage is that of Danish nobility. I was not at want for comfort or education. I was selected to study the law and to be a member of the royal court. My family was very connected with King Frederick himself. In fact, it was my uncle who saved him from drowning while drunk in a canal in Copenhagen. But nonetheless, although I was not at want for riches, I had always said to my family members that it is not these luxuries that will endure, just like the power of kings. What truly will endure over time is the arts and works of the mind, for these are truly eternal. And it was the richness that I found in the heavens that inspired me far more than any golden orb or chalice. And it was, shall I say, in my university days, I was smitten by the goddess Urania, by observing something in the heavens that struck me, an eclipse.
Was that about the time you were smitten by something else?
Yes. So, my dear Kepler, I'm sure that you are referring to the jolts of the senses that I received.
Yes, I must be it.
When, in 1572, in the constellation, which I am sure that fellow astronomers will recognize. Young man, do you know what constellation this is? The Queen on her throne. If you listen, someone is whispering it.
Cassiopeia?
Cassiopeia, yes. In 1572, I noticed that there was in the skies a new star, yet undiscovered previously, unreported to at anywhere in Europe or anywhere in the world as far as I know. And this Nova Stella was to be one of my great discoveries. That's the first published book that I wrote, and it was the first subject of true analyses astronomically to determine where this was it indeed a star, or was it something, should we say, is meteorological? Yes, as Aristotle claimed that comets were, that they were some sort of sublunary exhalations from volcanoes or such, and we determined that this was indeed a new star.
And whereabouts have you collected this data in your life?
Well, look, we mentioned that I was in, my family was in favor with the Danish king, and it was through his patronage that I was granted a fiefdom on a small island named Wien off the coast of Denmark, between Denmark and Sweden. The island was known as Wien. It had been an outpost for the Vikings in the Middle Ages. In fact, one of the first kings who served there had the rather colorful name of Eric the Priest Hater. So I guess we stood where he stands ecclesiastically. But nonetheless, although the island did have its somewhat bellicose historical aspects, it was there that I would build my own castle And this would be not a castle that would be of any ordinary stance. It would be not armed with ramparts and weapons, catapults and the like. It would be armed with instruments that were mentioned in the introduction of my own design. Great ormolu spheres, large celestial globes, and giant quadrants that were capable of keeping our measurements of the heavens down to essentially an arc minute of degree, which had been as to heretofore unknown in terms of accuracy. And it was with these weapons that I would lay siege to the heavens and try to unlock its mysteries. And this home of mine, as Kepler mentioned, became known as Johannesburg, and as it's depicted there as the castle in all of its finery.
The castle of the heavens, but heavenly perhaps is not the best description of this place.
Here we go.
The Johannesburg was commonly filled with revelers and celebrities, musicians, as well as scientists. My companions were mathematics and calculations, and the sacred geometry of the Pythagoreans. Alas, my eyes are too weak to devote to observation, but my mind is sharp, and it finds inspiration in speaking the harmonious language of the universe, mathematics. Man's glory lies in understanding of the harmony and rhythm of the dance, the harmony of the universe, first glimpsed by the ancient Pythagoreans. An understanding made possible through our unique gift of thinking in numbers. While Tycho labors in observations of the physical world, I pursue a deeper understanding of the forms. It was in this abstraction of geometry that I discovered a connection with the 5 perfect solids. 5 platonic solids, which when inscribed within one another, could possibly define the ratios of the orbits of the planets. Of course, this is the reason there are only 6 planets. This glimpse of the cosmic architecture, written in mathematics and the beauty of geometry, became my mysterium cosmographicum, and was to become my life's work. All I needed was Tycho's data to prove my theory correct.
Yes, the mysterious solids, yes, again and again. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the Pythagorean solids, young gentlemen, have you had the opportunity to study Euclid's Elements?
No, not yet.
Well, it will be soon. A special aspect of the 5 Pythagorean solids, if I may, Kepler,
Please let us see what you have learned.
is that there are only 5 polyhedrons in all of geometry, shapes, 3-dimensional shapes, that are perfect. In other words, every one of their sides is exactly the same. Yes? Now, this has been